Bear with me, my computer's a little slow today. All right, redirecting us to YouTube. That's good.
April, did you at least get a coffee break?
I did. I actually took like a 2-hour nap this afternoon. I'm definitely getting old, I think. So
I said,
I had an hour or two in the midst of the day that I was like, all of a sudden I feel like I was hitting a wall, and I don't usually nap during the day. So now I'm going to be up really late. Hi, everybody. April Cox here. This is our weekly self-publishing Q&A. Ask me anything about self-publishing. We are here for free. Come and join us on Zoom Live, aprilcox.com/events, EVENTS, events, aprilcox.com/events. And I'm open to answering whatever question you have. We'll be here for about an hour. And if you are watching on YouTube and you want to just post a question there, go ahead and do that. And we will continue. I'll continue to try to monitor both. So anybody have a question for me? Let's get started.
I have a general question about your Ingram Spark because I've been wanting to attend that. I haven't had the opportunity with my schedule yet, but do you do that on a weekly basis?
I do, yeah. So
Okay.
for the mastermind group, I have certain drop-in times that if you're a mastermind member, then you can drop into my open slots for help with and hand-holding with certain things. One of the most requested things that we have is people that just need some help with their upload on Amazon or Ingram, or they've uploaded, but they're feeling a little insecure and they just want a second set of eyes on it before they submit. So yeah, we use that slot. It's on Wednesdays between 1 and 3. So I'm there for
Yeah.
2 hours. You can drop in as a member of the mastermind. It's absolutely free. So yeah, absolutely
If
take
yeah,
advantage.
if oh, I'm sorry. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, because I'm not a member of the mastermind, but I've paid for classes before. So is that one of the classes I could pay for to bop in on?
Yeah. Yep, you can.
Okay.
Yep, you can. So yeah, that would be great. And the mastermind membership, if you do sign up, there it's a 30-day free trial. So you can sign up for free for 30 days. And if you cancel, if it's just not for you or you don't find yourself using it as much, then you can always just cancel it at the end of the 30 days and you don't have to worry about anything. And right now it's on sale half price at $49 a month. So if you
Yeah.
want to be part of it, you can attend unlimited meetings and things that we have. We have so many open items like the Marketing Monday sessions, and this open Q&A is for everybody, but we do have a lot of really great other types of classes and things that all of our mastermind members are able to take advantage of at no charge.
So April, I've been hesitant only because of time restraints, not because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
anything else. Plus, I don't have my next two children's books where I need to have them in order to go through
got
that
it.
step. So until I do that,
Mhm.
plus we're going to be out of town for about almost a month in 2 weeks. So maybe when I come back from that, um, hopefully. So I know you have like auditing services where once I get it to, and I'm almost there. I'm almost there with one of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can hire your services to take a little peek at it and give me your suggestions.
Absolutely. And with those kinds of things, that's another benefit of being part of the mastermind is you get discounts on all of those services as well. So something to consider. Any specific questions or things you're struggling with that you want to chat about as well today?
Me personally, haven't thought about it.
Okay.
So if someone else has
Yeah, no worries.
some
No worries.
input, I might come back. Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. I did have some upcoming events and things that I'm getting really excited for. I'll just drop a little bit of a teaser. So I've been wanting to do something about book launches. And I had met with the gentleman who does um, who I interviewed for the publishing tool that we had, Teddy and I were talking and saying we should have a panel discussion or something that really focuses on book launching because there's so many different aspects of it. So we ended up, he and I have been working together and reaching out on a number of different platforms. So it's Teddy Smith and myself, and we connected with and got the thumbs up from Craig Martell, who is all about like rapid release. Julie Broad, so the book Broad, book launchers. She's going to be part of the panel discussion. We also have Alexa Bigwharf that does all of the women in publishing, and Dale Roberts, who just released a book about none other than book launching. So we're going to have a really great session, and it's going to be a panel discussion, which I've never done before. So we're going to do that together. And, I do a lot of book launches around children's books. So that'll be the area that I'll cover. And I think that Teddy's going to do the facilitation. So it's going to be really fun. And it should be a great learning experience because there's not just one way to launch books. So I wanted to get a different perspective and also allow people to submit questions and to have some panel discussion topics as well as some open Q&A. So more to come. We're looking for like the second half of April or May, depending on how we can get all of this aligned. Go ahead, Pat. I see your hand.
I think that's a great idea because you have this book that you've just written. It's been edited, illustrated, designed, and it's like, what do you do now? Even me, after having 3 picture books, while I work on the 4th one in the series, it crosses my mind, how do I do this again? Because things have changed. Mm-hmm. And I also like the idea of trying to convey more than one way to launch a book, because exactly. It isn't just one fits all or one size fits all. I think that's a great idea. And the steps that you take, like you do this and then you put it on for 99 cents and you upload the cover, but you don't upload the interior. That's, just the step by step is, I think, very helpful to people.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I have found works really well, like the step by step that I do and that I go over with my people. But Dale wrote a whole book about book launching, right? And he has his own ways and ideas and things that work really well for him. 2 things can both be right. And different perspectives. Sometimes it's genre specific. Sometimes it's just a different approach. So we're going to get to have an opportunity to have some different ideas. And you don't usually get this caliber of speakers all together in one place. So I'm really excited about that. Go ahead, Jack. You have a question?
Yes, yeah. I know that you and I are working on a book project, and I was just wondering, would I need to do something additional for membership? Membership privileges.
Yeah, you can absolutely sign up for the mastermind if you want to go to. Let me just post the link here in the chat. It's Self-Pub Made Simple. Hold on, selfpubmadesimple.com/mastermind.
Is that a one flat fee, or is that a monthly thing?
I have a monthly option or an annual option. So it's $49 a month or $4.99 a year. So that saves you a little bit of money doing it that way. So that's, if you're interested in taking advantage of the mastermind, you'll have a lot of extra drop-in sessions and other things you can take advantage of and discounts and all of that good stuff. And you'll be able to read about it on that webpage. So selfpubmadesimple.com/mastermind.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. How's the book coming, Jack?
I sent you an email, and I basically said that I've taken some of the break time that we've had from working together, and I've basically reinvented it. And so I know that sounds terrible, but it'll be a rewrite of the story, but it is so much better. The other one that we did the mind map on, it was just a little wonky. It didn't land really solid, and I knew it was a problem. But it said what I was wanting to say. But this one, it tells a cohesive story that lands really powerfully at the end. So it's a really solid story.
Oh,
So
good.
I
Sometimes we
think,
just need to take those steps to go through and out, especially if you're starting with an outline and you're digging in deeper, but it's got to flow from one chapter to the next and the book, the arc is really important. So it's great that you've had an opportunity. Sometimes we go in the wrong direction and it just doesn't fit before we have to shake our head and come back and say, okay, now that I've gone the wrong way, let me go back up. And I think now I've got the right approach. So that's great to hear.
yeah, this one really flows and it climaxes really awesome, right where it needs to. So working with you has given me the freedom to kind of reinvent that. And so I'm
Awesome.
really excited about it.
Awesome. I can't wait to see. Are you forwarding me the updated manuscript, or do you want to schedule some time together later after this session's over?
I'd like to do that. I think we need to do a new mind map.
Okay. Sounds great. Awesome. All right. Has anybody, one of the things that I like to do with these open Q&A, if we end up with not too many people on and I don't have a lot of questions bringing me in a bunch of different ways, is I'll highlight a tool that I've started using, and mind mapping is something, that when Jack was talking about it, it's a tool that I use for so many things. A lot of times I've got authors coming to me saying, I just don't know what to do. I've got all these things in my head. How can I put something together, or how can I organize myself? And mind mapping is a really cool way to do exactly that. So I thought maybe this would be a good time to share my screen and just show you one of the tools that I use. And of course, we can open up for more questions as well. But the tool is called MindMeister. And it's MindMeister.com. I'll post links. I just submitted it here in the chat. So MindMeister is free for up to 3 mind maps. So if you sign in and create an account for yourself, you'll have the ability to create a few mind maps before they try to charge you for anything. And I think after that, it's like a $15 a month charge. But I do love mind maps because my mind works in that way, where it's just like stream of consciousness, thinking about all of the different things that we might need to do. So if I'm opening this up to create a new mind map, let's just say marketing plan. Does anybody want to walk through some marketing, and use their book as an example, or any topic? Let's actually have something that is that we can use together. Pat, you say you're writing a new book?
Yes. Some of the marketing plans I think that you could add to that would be, if you're trying to market your book, you could do it at book fairs, craft shows, crafts.
So sometimes, like if we're moving, like if I just wanted to start brainstorming on things that I can do with this kind of mind mapping tool, you can just kind of talk about, like what are the events that I want to organize. And this, you can just kind of go anywhere. Who are the people or the influencers that you want to connect with? What else about when you're considering
advertising?
Advertising. Yep. Pre-launch activities, social media. So you can see here that, and you can actually say, okay, influencers, I've got, let's just say this is for a Christian book launch. And I would start listing Christian books in Christian bloggers, maybe, or one of my authors who I met with just before this is launching a book about food sensitivities. So they might go online and search for influencers who write about those kinds of topics. So it's a kid's book, about a child who has a gluten allergy. So you can start kind of organizing who are the people that I want to reach out to. I'm just going to put gluten-free, or health influencers. And with this, you can also kind of reorganize things. So if we're talking about events, we can talk about local events, and then we can talk about podcasts. We can talk about maybe webinars that you might conduct yourself in order to get people interested. For example, these two young ladies that are launching Arlo, the gluten-free duck, or they could do a webinar and offer like a 30-minute session talking about how you can help your child who's having gluten allergies. And they can also use that time to talk about their book. So they might decide to do a webinar, or they could reach out to podcasts that focus on health and wellness, and kids podcasts or children's book, other podcasts. So as you start to go through this, there's Reading with Your Kids podcast, Family Healthy, I'm just making this up, Family Healthy Health and Wellness. So there's a bazillion podcasts out there. And so as you are building your own platform at the beginning, especially as new authors, you're not going to have much of a platform. So you need to borrow someone else's platform. So if you know that there are influencers, there are podcasters, others that have that or share your target audience, then by reaching out and collaborating with others, you're able to pull this together, whether that's, events, like there's, local events at the library, or, you can work with your local library to set up some kind of presentation or book reading. You could do, let's see, help me out here, guys. You could do craft fairs, health fairs, if it's about a gluten-free duck, right? Health fairs. And so as you start looking through and researching and you start collecting information, you could start, you might see and include some of these things. And the way that the mind map works, I can move things around. And so I might say, okay, pre-launch advertising. So I can just drag and drop this pre-launch social media posts and move things around. So it's a great tool to be able to not only work on this as a single person, kind of like getting all of my, even if I just have a list of to-dos that I want to not forget, and I'm trying to organize it into something and get it out of my head and onto something, this mind mapping is a really great way to do it. And you can click share and share a link to it and make somebody else a co-editor with you. So if you happen to be working with someone like I do with my coaching students, I will we'll create this together. I share the link with them, and then they become editors, co-editors, and they can work on it. And then when we get back together, we'll take a look at what's changed, what, additional things that we need to continue with. So it's a great tool to check out if you haven't already. It's mindmeister.com, M-E-I-S-T-E-R, Mindmeister. All right. Any comments, questions? Has anybody else used mind mapping?
I have used mind mapping to actually map out a book, just like folks going out. I've done that. I guess one of the things that you put into that map that kind of, I've just never caught on to it is podcasts, where to find them. If you're writing maybe like a science fiction book, or more of a history picture book, or a mystery, that I know I've watched podcasts, but they kind of intrigue me. It's like, where do you find them?
Yeah. So great question. And Google is where I used to go when it was time to try to find the podcasts that could potentially be good ones for me. There's also podcast sites that
Mhm.
you can reach out to that organize podcasts, and you can apply as a podcast guest, and other podcasters will get notification that you're there. But I'm going to go here and say, I am a children's book author that writes about a little trolley named Delmar Dinky. I'm just gonna put it in here and ask. I'm looking for podcasts to speak about my children's book, reinventing yourself as an older author. What else? What other kind of topics could you speak about?
It's kind of historical. It's got an adventure. It's
Historical fiction.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me just pull this in, and the AI has access to so much information on the web, and it can pull all of this stuff together for you. And they have, so here you go, the Children's Book Author Podcast, the Children's Book Podcast, podcasts on reinventing yourself. So it's giving you all of the information. Please provide a list including website information, so that you can actually download the list. The way that they'll pull it together, you can just download it, and it gives you a good place to start. So Children's Book Author Podcast. They have links here.
Okay.
So I'm happy to share it. Open Spotify. So another place to go would be Spotify or any of that. Google, if you've, another thing that I've done in the past also is if you know of an author whose books are similar to yours and you Google that author, chances are what you're going to find is a bunch of different podcasts, a bunch of different articles, and maybe different events that they have conducted, but information about where they have gotten media coverage or where they've gone as to get interviewed or do podcasts, and that can give you some real good ideas of places that you might want to try.
And then you can ask these people if you could be a guest on their podcast. Is that how?
Absolutely. So let me just do one more thing. So let me just go here. Children's Book Author Podcast. So I'm going to say I would like to pitch the Children's Book Author Podcast. What do you need to know in order to help me create a compelling pitch? So besides telling AI what you want it to act as, so helping you, find podcasters, also remember that it needs to know more than we tell it sometimes in order to be able to help us be really productive. So it wants to know about book details. It wants to know about your story as an author, why this podcast, and a little bit of promotional details. So if we were to answer these questions, would you be willing to walk through this with me? So here, one, what's the title of your children's book? So we can say Delmar, what age group? Age 3 to 7. A brief summary of your book. Let me just go and grab the Amazon listing. Let's see. Delmar. Come on. So we'll just grab that.
That's the second one. It doesn't matter.
You're right. I mean,
I
guess
it won't matter.
We can just use this. Okay. Let's grab this. Back to the AI. And for those of you who, who are and maybe have not seen me walk through things with my AI before, this is authorpreneur.ai, and it's an AI that I created on top of ChatGPT. So it's a custom GPT that it specializes in helping authors. So it takes all of the good things about ChatGPT and builds on top of that with some additional things. So now it's got a little description there, and I'm just hitting Shift Enter because I want to answer all the questions before we move forward. All right, so there we got a summary. What themes or messages does your book focus on? So
No matter what your size, you can succeed. You can do big things, yes.
Yep. Okay, so, and then your story as an author. So as an author, Pat, what inspired you to write Delmar the Dinky?
Actually, it was someone I worked with that used to talk about a dinky, and I didn't know what it was. So I guess what inspired me was the gentleman who talked about the dinky, and also my love of history, especially St. Louis, where I live. But it does deal with an historical event, the 1904 World's Fair.
Okay, so you can tell I'm not being very worried about exactly how things are
Right.
flowing, how easy, whether it sounds good or not, because the AI will make it sound better. Have you reinvented yourself as an author later in life? Tell me a little bit about your journey. So, like, what was your background? How did you become an author? Just let's give it a short description of that, and because that's going to be part of your pitch.
Okay. Oh, about the journey. Well, I taught history, and I always wanted to write in retirement.
Okay. So, how long did you teach?
20 years.
And what age groups?
6 through 12. Social studies.
And the benefit, it's given you a lot of new things to learn and opened up a lot
Yes.
of new. Okay, so
Yes.
all right. What unique perspective do you bring to children's literature? How would you answer that question?
I think I can blend history and a good story. And that's the perspective I can bring. I can tell a story and weave the history in to make it interesting. More hands-on. That's what I did as a teacher.
Okay. Okay, very good. And then see why this podcast. So I'm just going to say, why do you think your book and story are a great fit for the Children's Book Author Podcast? I'm just going to say, as a children's book author with a unique story, this would be a great fit. It'll do better. Promotional details. You have a website, social media links. Yes, so it's Pat Dana.
PatDanaBooks.com.
Books.com. And are you launching your book soon or promoting an existing one?
Promoting an existing.
Book series about Dinky with book 4 in progress. Book 4 writing is in progress. Not even fancy. All right, once you provide this information, I'll craft a professional and engaging pitch that highlights your book, expertise, and why you'd make a great guest for the podcast. Let's make it compelling. So now the other thing is, if you already tried to write a pitch, you can always paste the pitch in and say, tell the AI, act as a PR and marketing expert. I am pitching to XYZ. Please review this and suggest changes. And it will critique it if you just want to critique, or if you want it to rewrite it for you, then it will. So I'll read through what it says here. So subject is podcast guest pitch, bringing history to life with Dalmar the Dinky. Dear podcast host name, I hope you're doing well. My name is Pat Dana, and I'm a children's book author with a passion for blending history with engaging storytelling. As a longtime history teacher and now a published author, I would love the opportunity to be a guest on the Children's Book Author podcast to discuss my book series, Dalmar the Dinky, and my journey of reinventing myself as an author later in life. And then it's got the about the book, why I'd make a great guest. As a former history teacher of 20 years, I understand how children learn and to weave historical events into engaging stories. I've reinvented myself as an author in my senior years, proving that it's never too late to pursue a new passion. My books bring history to life in a way that excites young readers, making learning fun and interactive. I can share insights on writing children's book with historical themes, self-publishing, and finding new purpose in retirement. You can learn more about my books at, and it gives the link, patdanabooks.com. I'm currently promoting my existing Dalmar the Dinky series with book 4 in progress. I'd love the opportunity to inspire your audience of aspiring authors, parents, and educators with my journey and my work. Please let me know if you'd be interested in having me on the show. I'd be honored to chat with you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Can you send that to me?
Of course. This
so
is the other thing about these, about the Authorpreneur AI, is you can just click share, and I can save this link here, and I'll just share it. So you can end up popping right into this chat and picking up where you left off. So you can take this and you can keep going. This is great. I love it. And now it's got all this background about you and your book and your pitching. And so this is perfect. So if you say, this is wonderful, let's now do a pitch for the Reinvention Rebels. So let's say, perfect. Let's do one now for Reinvention Rebels. My fingers don't want to work today. So then you can, now when I was doing this, I was pitching a number of speakers to put together my my Authorpreneur Summit, and I would specifically talk about, like, I want to invite Dave Chesson to speak. I want to invite Brian Cohen to speak. And I went through it with Authorpreneur AI, and it gave me some great feedback. I gave it all the information about the summit, about websites of the people I was pitching, so it could go in and get some personal details and weave some personal details into the pitch, so I could kind of get more synergy in the pitch. So here, reinventing myself as a children's book author at 70 plus, or whatever your age is. I hope you're doing well. So it goes here for 20 years, why I'd make a great guest. So it does a lot of the same things, but it rearranges it in a way that really targets this particular podcast. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let me see if I've got any questions on YouTube here. I've got 6 watching now. Hello, everybody. Tell me, hi, I got Tony there. Tony says, I release a book and get negative Amazon reviews because of curses in my book. So I think the question is, should you release it again without curses? I think you got to know your target audience, Tony. I don't think I could tell my memoir or about my history without curse words in it because my dad swore so much, right? And like I can't represent that character without having some curse words in it. And so, but if I'm writing a children's book or if I'm, leaning towards a Christian audience, then I'm probably going to have to tone it way down and change the verbiage. I'd also take a look at the reviews that you're getting. Is it that you went too far? Let your target audience tell you what they want. And I would say if the reviews you're getting are a small percentage of them are not liking it, but maybe they're not your target audience too. So you got to really evaluate whether or not that's, it's about the individuals, the few, or that you're missing your target audience. Anybody else have any feedback about that? Would swear words turn you off, Rosalie?
No, well, depending that they were, they were done, what's the word? If it was like, as you said, an abundance of them continuously, and that's all that was in the narrative, then I might say, I'm not going to read this. But yeah, if there's a curse here and a curse there, and if it's one character that, I don't know the context of the book. But my question was, you had said something, and so I have a question for you, April, because you said you have to know your target audience, and how do you target that specifically? What your podcaster's issue is without putting it, because once you put it out on on Amazon, everyone is it's open to everyone, correct? So how do you target that? I don't know the background logistics or technology, if there is any, to be able to do that.
So I think if I'm really thinking about a target audience, right, I need to know the people that I'm writing for. So the people that are reading Stephen King horror stories are very different and expect very different things than the people that are reading cozy mysteries or that are reading women's romance novels, like second chance romance, right? So by starting with clarity on who you're writing for and what it is that they like, and what are they looking for, what kind of covers, what kind of themes are common to the genre, then you really have to dig deep and know your audience really well, which means you need to have read a lot in that genre and understand a lot. And you can really learn about the target audience by looking at some of the reviews of competitor books. So doing research and digging into your competitors, evaluating what are people loving and raving about the book, what are people disappointed about, talking to bookstores and librarians and getting a sense of, what are the books in this genre that you can't keep on the shelves, and make sure that you understand, you devour those yourself, because you're not really going to be able to write for that audience until you really understand what it is that they love and what it is that you're putting out there.
So I guess, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Rosalie.
I guess the clarity that I need is, I know that when you do the initial setup, right, you have to pick specific genres. Is that correct?
Well, you're talking about categories. Yeah, like we're
like categories. Would that be part of where you target this audience? Because I'm in my mind, April, and I'm sure there's a lot I don't know, but in my mind is, if once it's uploaded, anybody can see it. So are you with me?
It's true, but your book is not for everybody, right? You've got specific keywords, you've got specific,
Oh, that's
you know,
it. It's the
there's
keywords. Got
keywords,
it.
there's
Okay, we got it now.
and the
Okay.
thing is though, like if I'm writing a children's book and it's I'll use Mary Alice Burt as an example. She's one of my authors I work with, and her children's books, she's got two of them. One is called God, I Want to Know You. The next one
Okay.
is called Big Love, Learning to Live with
Oh,
God
yeah. I
Inside.
saw that one.
Right.
Mhm.
So you've got these two books that are for a very specific audience. Not everybody is going to
Mhm.
be gravitating towards those books. Now, if she starts getting some negative comments or feedback on those books from people that are not part of her target audience, I probably wouldn't worry too much about it. But she's going to be attracting in the things she writes, in the categories she puts, in the keywords that she advertises, in
The
books
keywords.
that she targets, or because with Amazon, you can do Amazon ads for other competitor books. You can do it for keywords and even categories on Amazon. So we might go down to children's Christian books that are, religious of nature, right? We would do that and highlight that category and say, anybody that's looking at a book in this category, then show that's where I want to target. So we're trying to attract the right people. That doesn't necessarily mean, somebody doesn't search for something about God, and maybe, came through a different way, might not find it. But the goal is that what we're writing is going to attract the people that we're trying to serve.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Spencer. I see it. Spencer Bell says, hello, April. It's been a long time. Nice to see you. Tell me more, Spencer, about what it is you're struggling with. Give me a question there so that I can help and answer whatever question you have. Tony says, I like the AI writer app. Thank you. It's called authorpreneur.ai, and right now it's free. So you can, you need to log in using a ChatGPT login. So if you don't already have access to ChatGPT, you can just create a free account. But when you get in, you're getting everything that is ChatGPT plus a layer of all of my knowledge and everything in my brain, and some effort that I've taken to help train this AI to behave in the way that I want it to, and to get some additional knowledge and things from my courses, my videos, my interviews. So I've loaded it up with a lot of stuff. Hopefully that will really help the authorpreneur community. So take advantage of that and use it in a number of different ways. Just play around, and I would love to get your feedback when you start using it.
Yeah.
All right. Tony says, does it do edits? Does it do edits? Are you talking about the Authorpreneur AI, Tony? Let me know what you mean. Okay. Whoops. I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. So you can go in and just, instead of like clicking edits of like, if you're talking about the Authorpreneur AI, if you go into a chat, you can just continue the conversation. So if the AI gave me a pitch, but it was a little off in an area, I might say, I don't like this. Please change it to refer to do this instead. Or, this is a little too long. Can you shorten it? Then it will create a more concise version. So you're basically just giving it feedback, and then it will give you another version. And then you can do a copy and use the text exactly as is. Or, of course, I would recommend you tweak it a little just to make sure it has your own voice. And then it'll allow you to use it if you're doing just Amazon descriptions or you're doing pitches. It also does a great job of coming up with keywords for your book, at which I did not realize how good that was going to be. So if you say, please give me, because we described the book and all of the stuff that we were working on. If we said, give me 7 keyword phrases for the book, Delmar the Dinky, and I would like them to be high search, low competition. So in other words, some real, SEO specific keywords. It will come up with some great phrases. And when I actually do the keyword research using tools, like it would take me 2 hours to do the analysis to come up with the keywords and things that they find in a split second. So definitely take advantage of that. Okay. All right. What else can I help you with?
Well, may I make a comment,
Sure,
April?
of course. Absolutely.
Will you tell your podcaster that I have used yours and I'm so much your authorpreneur.ai, and you're welcome to share with them what I sent you. That first I did it on chat and then I did it on yours, and what a difference. Yours was, I just have to say, superior. That's the word that I want to use. Superior.
Thank you. That's really nice of you to say. I find that I did actually spend months training it and loading up a bunch of extra information. Like it's got all of my course information. It's got all of the things that I train on. It's got my workbook and all of the even expert interviews that I've done with experts like Brian Cohen and others who I've interviewed, and who I was like, wow, this is gold. I'm going to put that also in this package of stuff that I'm going to feed to the AI so that it has all of this extra knowledge. And then I spent time going through and going back and forth, interacting with it, saying, no, that's not how I want you to answer. If somebody asks this, like, for example, when you ask for a description, I want it to give me a small version, a long version, a medium version, and a short version. And so I had to train it to do it to provide it that way, so that when you don't have to ask it for those different things. So yeah, it's been a lot of work, and we're still continuing to modify things, but I think it's a great tool that is saving me a ton of time. And I'm really excited to say that we're going to do something similar with the application that we're developing. I can't reveal it yet because we're working on the prototype, but I'm actually working on an app that I've been talking about for a while, haven't I, Pat? You're going to be one of my testers. I know you are. That where you can create your publishing project, and it handholds you through the whole thing, partially using AI, partially but it incorporates my methodology for going through a publishing project. So I love that it's coming together. Right now, I have the ability to add a user, add some projects, I'm adding tasks, and I want it to be so simple that anybody can use it, and it takes the complexity about knowing what to do next and how to connect with people, and how to just work through the publishing process. So one of the things that I found over the years is that authors have so much on the plate of like what they have to do, and it's confusing. It can be really overwhelming. So my goal was to take some of that overwhelm away. And then there were challenges for things like, what about where am I storing files? How can I share the files with my formatter has files out there. I have no idea where they are. So I started working on also putting a central file system together, the ability to invite, your designer, your illustrator to share files in one place, keep it all together, to jump in and say, I don't know what this task is, or I need help with this task. And between the AI and the ability to literally request somebody come in and help you, like an advisor, you can make an appointment with an advisor to kind of get unstuck in a task. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this. And for people that are not project managers or not good with coordinating things, I'm using that project management background that I have, as well as my IT background, and trying to put something together that helps people get organized, helps people coordinate things, but also doesn't overcomplicate, because it could be very easy to get very complicated. So Pat's going to keep me honest on that, won't you, Pat?
Yes.
Mhm.
It's a good idea because people want to write. They don't want to be hung up with all this promoting and managing and coaching. They want to
Sure.
write. And this takes all the other takes so much away from just the writing process. And for some like myself, some of this just didn't come easy.
Yeah.
And I needed help.
Yep.
It's a good idea.
Absolutely. And
Great
the other thing is I've got so many videos and step-by-step videos and things like that. I want them to be there at the fingertips. So if you're like getting ready to upload things to Amazon and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, you'll be able to get access to with one click, like here's the step-by-step video, or here's the process. Or
Even
click
like
a person that says, hey, I need help with this, and it will put a request in to get to allow you to just set up time so somebody can help you with it.
even like what I was talking about before for a book launch, something that here's the step-by-step process. You've written this book, now how do you launch it? And that would be a great one too.
Yeah. So I think that having you, Pat, and one of my early testers for the proof of concept will be helpful. And if you think that you're a good fit and you'd like to be involved in that, let me know. Send me an email, and just let me know that you're interested in being part of that beta testing. Go ahead, Jack. I see your hand.
Yeah, I was just going to say I volunteer. I put it in the chat, but I volunteer because I've been a beta tester for many different types of engineering software and Logos Bible software. So I've seen a lot of different packages. I did want to mention something about keywords, though.
Hmm.
I'm nowhere near an expert, but I've listened to a lot of different people talk about publishing and marketing on Amazon. And one of the things that stood out to me with keywords was that they change gradually over time. Like the keywords that you may use one year may not work. They may not be the perfect fit the next year. And so they recommended that you review them every month or two and kind of look at the other books that are going in your genre or whatever in your target audience and kind of adjust them just a little bit as necessary so that
That's a
you're
really
still
good
relevant.
point, Jack. And thank you for the volunteer. Yes, I would definitely like to incorporate your help. And your background would be wonderful to take advantage of. I'd love to maybe connect you even sooner rather than later because of your technical background as well. So yeah, let's chat about that. I usually try to revisit the keywords and categories once a quarter, but certainly, on an annual basis, because categories change all the time as well. And so do, new ones are introduced. Others, same thing with keywords. You're absolutely right. And sometimes new terms become like, gosh, social emotional learning was not a big thing. That term wasn't even a thing for a while, and then all of a sudden it was everywhere. Same thing with terms like mindfulness for kids and things like that. So it's really good to stay on top of that. And you can use AI to also ask things like, what are some trending topics or common questions from parents of kids 4 to 8? Like, what are people searching for? What are the common themes that you're seeing coming up? So yes, that would be amazing. Spencer asks a question. He says, do you still have those courses, by the way? So if you're talking about all the course information that I loaded up into my AI, yes, I do. I have my signature course is called the 90-Day Way. It is a beginning to end from like, you have to come in having a manuscript, and in the end, it takes you through the whole publishing process. So, and we call it the 90-Day Way because the goal is that you get published within 90 days. So it is a very comprehensive, it's a 12-week course, and it combines live as well as self-study, homework, and things that you do. We're just finishing up. We're halfway through a group now. Probably will kick off another one in the June timeframe. So, and you can find out more about the course. And if you're interested in getting on the wait list for the next one, you can go over to selfpubmadesimple.com and you'll get more information about it there. Awesome. Okay, so storyteller Susan on YouTube says, "Hi April, I started using hazing in my read alouds. How else could I use flipbooks as an author and illustrator?" I've been playing around with flipbooks. It's so funny that you ask, because I'm generating one for one of my authors as well. And I love the idea that you can, have a flipbook. I'm using it or thinking about using it as a freebie or a lead magnet. So when somebody purchases the book, there's like, hey, go here and download the flip book. If you're able to record your voice, and that's the one I've been trying to look for, one that's not too expensive, that allows me to also record a voice so that the author could record their own voice reading the book as part of the flip book as well. So the only one that I found is Flipping Books, but I haven't done as much research as I'd like. I did look at hazing. I didn't see any way of recording a voice. So, but to answer your question, how else could you use it? I think it's great on your website. I think it's a wonderful link to provide to educators in supplemental material. And of course, as a lead magnet to grow your email list. Anybody else have comments or questions?
I have a question,
Go
April.
ahead, Rosalie.
Your new project that you have just launched with us as as volunteers. How far along do you have to be in order to be a volunteer? Do I need my manuscript completely done perfect, or?
I think if you're just getting started and you're in the early phases, then that's great. I'd like to have a little.
Oh no, I'm almost at the end, so
Okay.
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I want to be able to test people at different phases. So if you're coming into the app and you're already a certain way along, one of the things when I'm adding a new project, I say, what phase are you in? So that I can, it doesn't necessarily force you to fill out all the other things about your editing and all that other stuff. If you're already at pre-launch, then it'll allow you to kind of start there if you want to. So yeah, so it doesn't, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be the beginning. But I'm really looking at trying to make something that is, a very collaborative platform. And I know I'm not going to get it right the first time. I'm going to definitely need feedback and beta testers to like shake it out. Some things that we're designing may be simple for me when I look at it, but if you look at it and go, I have no idea what that word means or what I'm supposed to do on the screen, that's going to help us and we'll get better with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll email you.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. So we are at the top of the hour. I just want to thank you all for joining me on YouTube. I'm going to disconnect, keep going a little bit with my folks here that are live with me.
Thank you, April.
So if you want to come back and you want to continue, you've got questions, come on over to aprilcox.com/events. And I'm going to be on for probably another half hour or so with folks here going through some more detailed stuff. And we're going to get into a little bit more experienced or more advanced stuff as well. So again, thank you. Come back next week. And if you have not already followed me on YouTube, I am pushing towards the 10,000 subscribers. So please and subscribe. And let's see if we can't get over that 10,000 mark.
So where's your subscription? Is it just aprilcox.com?
It's
on YouTube.
It is youtube.com.
Okay.
And it's the YouTube. If you search for Self-Publishing Made Simple with April Cox, you will
Got
find it. And you can subscribe it right now.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for your time.